Hey, Caleb.
Hey,
So tell me what's been going on lately.
well, I mean, I've been having the usual stuff going on, going to school, doing my extracurricular stuff, clubs, that sort of thing. Just day-to-day stuff, really.
Tell me more about that.
Um, well, I mean, it's getting to that point of the semester where stuff is starting to uh, get kind of real, I guess. Like we're actually having assignments due, starting to have tests and quizzes and that sort of thing. Getting out of the first portion of the semester where you're kind of just getting used to everything. So stuff's piling up a little bit, making it harder to do some of the other things I was like hoping to do in terms of like self improvement and that sort of thing.
Hmm. So it sounds like things are getting a lot busier than they were, and maybe you're feeling a little stressed from it.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's different kind of stress than later in the semester when you're kind of tired and worn out. Like I still have some energy,
Yeah.
um, but it's just like the beginnings of it.
So it sounds like maybe you're not too stressed about everything, but still getting adjusted, and it's middle of the semester, so things are starting to really pile up and take more of your time.
Yeah, I would say that it's definitely not like the most stressed out I could be, but it's enough to where it's like starting to cut back on the time that I can like go to the gym and that sort of thing. And starting to get to the point where I'm like not cooking meals like I was at the beginning of the semester. So things that I wanted to do are it's kind of getting in the way of.
So it sounds like maybe your academics are getting more or less in the way of what other things you could be doing, like socializing and just taking care of yourself.
Yeah, I don't really like to phrase it like they're getting in the way because it's kind of like the purpose of me being here at school is academics, and of course that's what I want to spend a lot of energy on. But I have like a lot of goals going into the semester in terms of like going to the gym all the time, kind of cutting down like weight and that sort of thing through going to the gym and eating better. And I feel like it's starting to get to that time where it's starting to actually be a challenge. Where at like the beginning of the semester, it was like exciting and I had more free time. So I was like more energized about going to the gym, about cooking meals, coming up with new stuff to make, that sort of thing. Whereas now it's kind of becoming like habit, but it's also like getting kind of old.
Tell me more about that and maybe why you were trying to do these
Yeah.
goals.
Um, well, last semester was really tough in a lot of aspects for me, both like academically, individually, emotionally. Um, I kind of suffered with my grades, and also I wasn't taking the best care of myself. I was eating like a lot of food like that I'm allergic to that I knew was going to make me not feel my best. And so, especially coming from the summer where I was in really good shape, I had been eating right for the whole summer. I had been like very active and doing a lot, and had cut down to where I wanted to be in terms of like weight and had like a really positive self-image to coming back to the stresses of school kind of getting caught up in all of that again and kind of slipping back to where I was before. It was kind of a demoralizing feeling, kind of frustrating, I would say.
So it sounds like you got to this point and you had maybe more time to really take care of yourself and
Mm,
do all these things and feel good about yourself.
mm.
And now that school's here again and another semester is coming along, it's hard to balance things.
Mm. Yeah, and I think a lot of it during the summer had to do with the structure of what I was doing. I was at a summer camp. I was eating only 3 meals a day. All the stuff I was eating was like um, really healthy food, really like kind of bland in some ways, but when you're only like eating 3 meals a day and you're on your feet all the time, always moving around like this. No matter how bland it is, it's gonna taste great when you eat it. And I was also never really one to go back up and get more at camp, just because as soon as I scarfed down my food, I was busy like dealing with the people I was responsible for and that sort of thing. So I think that like that structure of okay, I'm only going to eat during these very specific times, and didn't really have access to like other food and that sort of thing is what helped a lot. And then coming back here, sometimes I think like getting stressed out or like having a bad day, I just like I tend to choose like more unhealthy foods than just eating at the three times.
Tell me more about the summer camp you were at.
So I was working out in Colorado. It was kind of a new experience. Like being in college, of course, I'm on my own in some sense, but I really have like a support system in terms of friends and like faculty and professors that I really trust here at school. But going out to Colorado, it was kind of like the first realization or first time like being on my own completely, like 30 hours from my family, 30 hours from my friends, and in a lot of ways kind of isolated like socially from them because where I was at was super high elevation, not very good cell phone service. So the amount of time that I was getting to talk with people from back home was pretty limited. So that was kind of like a new feeling of independence, of liberation in some ways. At some points, it was kind of scary, but for the most part, I think it was uh, beneficial in helping me kind of step out of my comfort zone.
That sounds like that was a really nice opportunity for you to have to grow as a person and learn to work with kids and take care of yourself and just grow.
Yeah, I would say it was a pretty beneficial experience in terms of even if the I wouldn't always say it was growth. I think in a lot of ways I just changed as a person. I think some of those ways were positive, some of them were negative. But regardless, I think um, like at the deepest roots of it, I'm still the same person as when I went there and came back. But I think there were some major things that changed in that time too.
So it sounds like there were some good and bad, positive and negative that came out of that experience.
Mhm.
And you might have mixed emotions about the experience as a whole.
Yeah, I mean overall, it's definitely the positives outweigh the negatives, and that's something that no matter the situation or the circumstances, I kind of live through and live by. I think if you look hard enough, you're going to realize that like the good stuff is longer lasting in terms of memories and especially how it impacts you. I like to think that those are what forms me rather than the negative experiences, because those are of course going to be a part of any experience, any period of your life. You're going to have negatives by try and focus on the positives.
So it sounds like even if you know maybe there's negative things happening or just bad circumstances coming your way, you're always gonna push through and be hopeful about what it could bring.
Yeah, I mean, to the best of my ability, of course. There's going to be times when you get kind of down on yourself or get down on the situation that you're put in. But overall, I like to try and stay optimistic.
Sounds like sounds like you have like a very strong character and are able to just make the most of most things.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times it's it's kind of tough to see that, I guess, when you're in your own shoes and you're living through your own life. You see a lot of you see all the mistakes that you make um, yourself, like as an individual. So I think sometimes those can kind of like pile up, and you start dwelling on the negative stuff and kind of lose sight of the bigger picture in a lot of ways.
So you say it's hard to always see the positive and maybe look at the bigger picture when you're your own person and you can't really see, from other people's perspectives. Would you say more about the maybe feelings behind that?
Yeah, I feel like it's. I think everything is all the feelings involved in that are intensified when it's like your mistakes and your negative feelings. Um, so whether it's like um, feelings of like dissatisfaction or like um, I can't remember the word, not being able to live up to expectations, like feeling inadequate. I think that those feelings are always intensified when it's your own feelings and when you're kind of left to think about them all the time because you're living them. So I think a lot of times, like things that you would see other people do that you don't think are a big deal at all, to that person can be really impactful and can cause a lot of strong emotions, if that makes sense.
So you talked about this dissatisfaction and maybe inadequacy. Um, Tell me more about how that maybe relates to this semester and what's been going on here lately.
I think it kind of manifests in a lot of ways, really. Um, Especially in the school of music, at least for me, it's been really hard not to compare myself to other people. I know that coming into the school here, I had a lot like different experiences than everybody else, and everybody has their own unique background in music and as individuals. But a lot of times, like especially in more performance-based classes, I would say like piano and guitar and those sort of things, it can be really easy to like other people mess up and you're like, oh, like that didn't impact their like playing at all. It wasn't a big deal. But when it's you messing up, it's really easy to get down on yourself and think, well, so and so in my class, they don't mess up like ever. Like, but here I am not being able to play something, not being able to play it to the level that I want to, or really like not being able to express what I want to through it. I think are the kind of big things that caused me to start looking at other people and then um, seeing how I stack up with them. And that can be like a source of frustration, I think.
Mm-hmm. So if I'm understanding you correctly, it's a difficult environment to be in a musical, like musically inclined people, as especially with performance, the competitive nature, um, and that it can be really frustrating sometimes.
Definitely.
Could you speak more about your experience in music?
It's always been something for me. As I always say, it was never like who I am, but it was always like a part of me. I knew for a while that I wanted to pursue a career in music. Um, I learned about music therapy and thought it fit pretty well with like my goals for music and my mission for music. Um, I think in a lot of ways, like stuff I bring to music is pretty raw and like unpolished because of a lot of it self-taught for me. Like a lot of instruments and especially singing was never something that I really took lessons for. And in some ways, like when I'm playing music for fun, that can be kind of a benefit because it fits like the styles and like the aesthetics that I like. But also in music therapy, that usually doesn't align with kind of the goals and like the things that we're looking for in practicum specifically.
So sounds like even though you have like such a passion for music and you care about it a lot, that there's sometimes a disconnect between, you know, your idea of music and then how it relates to music therapy.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure there's ways to uh, kind of make those things align better, but that is sometimes a point of frustration for me.
We talked about your semester and your summer camp experience, and it sounds like there's a lot of frustration going on, and you know, looking that compared to summer camp things and music therapy and music school in general are getting a little difficult and maybe getting in the way of your goals, but you have a strong character and seem to at least want to grow and do what's best. Really thankful that you trusted me with your information and your story. So thank you.